Hello friends, welcome to Salesforce Cinematics video session 68. So basically in today's video, we will actually check a few functionalities which we have by default under the transform node in recipe. Okay, so let me first of all go to my Analytics Studio and let me go to my data manager. Let me go to manage data flow and recipe. So let's create a new recipe. Okay, and let's say I select opportunity only. Sorry, yeah, Salesforce update is fine. So I'm not able to see opportunity. Okay, let me select some different data types. So ID is fine. I can also go for name. Okay, let me go for account ID as well. Okay, let me go for amount. Okay, stage name is fine. Amount as well as let's say expected amount. Let me go for close date. Okay, let me go for opportunity type. Fine. Let me go for created it. So I have selected different uh, data types. That is, the dimension, measures, and date. Okay, so let me click on next. Now let me just select the transform node over here. Okay, now let's go one by one. So let us first check for dimension what are the functions which are available. So for dimensions, let me first of all take stage. Okay, so firstly you have this custom formula as well as you have now. So now but I think we will explain at a later stage. But for example, if you see trim, okay, so let's say if I take opportunity name and if I go for trim, so what does trim do? It basically removes any leading and trailing white spaces. Okay, so fortunately maybe I don't have any white spaces. So when what is the meaning of leading and trailing? It's at the beginning and at the very end. For example, before this capital O, if there is any space, it will remove that space, and after let's say 5, if there is any space, it will remove that space. Okay, that's the whole purpose of this trim. Fine, so I don't see any purpose of doing it, but let's say I want to map it in a new column. Okay, you can either do it in the original column or you can map it in a new column. So let's say, yeah, the label will be, let's say, name trim, and let me click on apply. So in case there is any kind of extra space, it will remove that. That's the function of this trim. Okay. Then we have something called as substring. Okay. So if I go for this substring, I will actually explain this at a later stage because I have different functionalities to explain, okay, over here. But there's this function of substring as well. Then there's option of split. Okay, so what is the split meaning of split? So let's say if I want to split this opportunity and after opportunity, whatever words are there, I want to split that. Okay, so there's a delimiter for this. So in my case, it will be space, right? Because after opportunity, I have said similarly, let's say if after opportunity you had some other delimiter, like instead of space, you will have had dash, semicolon, whatever, then all the options are available over here. Okay, so let me write it as this is split, right? Yeah, name split one. Okay, show result in new column, that is fine. Name split one and name split two, that's completely fine. And let me click on apply. So what will happen is in the under name split one, you will only see opportunity as of now. Okay, and after name split two, you will find for corner 5, for McDonald 5, in that manner. Okay, so if I click on apply, and if I shift over, you can see under name split one, you have option, and name split two, after the space, whatever words were there, that's are there in name split two. Okay, that's the thing of this split. Fine. Okay, let's move ahead. Then you have this uppercase and lowercase. Let me explain one of them. For example, let's say if I take uppercase, okay, so here it will be in, I want to map it in new column, so it will be name uppercase. So what happens? It converts value to completely uppercase. So whatever words you see over here, it will be completely converted to uppercase. So let me click on apply. Okay, and as you can see here, under this name uppercase, you have all the values under everything in uppercase. Okay, that's the thing of this uppercase. Same thing you can do for lowercase when I'm not showing you that. Okay, replace. So let's say there are certain words you want to replace with. Okay, for example, let's say I want to replace this word. Yeah, let's say I want to replace any particular word with something else. For example, I think I can take let's say I take test. Okay, yeah, for example, this test opportunity one, fine. Instead of this, I want to replace it with, let's say, test opportunity one. Okay, no, to get this part, okay, I want to replace with test opportunity one. Okay, So show results in, let's say, new column. Fine. And this will be name replace. So instead of test of one, I want to see test opportunity one. Let me click on apply. So instead of test of one, it will replace with test opportunity one. Let's see if I can find any. Okay. As you can see over here in this particular section, it is given as test of one, right? The name is test of one, as you can see here. Okay. If you see this, what happens? Okay. But if you hover over here, you will see test opportunity one. So this is the part of replace where a specific words, if you want to replace, you can do that. Okay. That's the thing of this. Fine. Then you have text to number or date. You have this option of changing it to number or date. I mean, for usually, if we don't change it to number or text, okay, until unless there's some specific numbers which you have done as text, but here it won't make sense. Okay, then there's something called as formatted, which will come once we do the formatting part. Okay, then you have this bucket. For example, for this stage, if I want to do some bucketing, you remember we used to apply that case when statement. Okay, so instead of applying that, you can simply use this bucketing. What it does is basically bucket values. It actually categorizes the values based on how you want to categorize it. Okay, so bucket string values into categories. Fine. So let's say I want to put some bucket where my closed one and closed lost. Okay, it will be open stage. Okay, this will be open stage. Let me click on apply. Fine. And there will be another bucket where all these listed values, whatever are there, it will be nothing but open stage. Okay, I think I made it wrong. 1 minute. Open one. Okay, I have to make it right. So this won't be open stage. I'm sorry. This will be close staged. Close stage. Okay, and this is fine. This will be open stage. Okay, let me click on apply. Fine. So I have made this bucketing. It will be a new column, and I'm bringing in a stage bucket. And let me click on apply. So once you click on apply, okay, as you can see here, so this is close stage. Okay, and I feel the stage name, if I'm not wrong, is, yeah, the stage name, as you can see, is closed one. The first, second and third column is closed one. That's why showing as closed, and the first was in open stage. That's why showing as open stage. Okay, so this is coming perfectly. We don't have to write case when statement, all those things. Fine. That's the beauty of this bucketing type, which is directly mentioned over here. Okay. Anyways, let's move it. Okay, flatten. We will try to do it later. Edit attribute. Let's say if there's a certain API name which you want to change, you can do that as well. For example, for this stage name, okay, let's say I want to uh, change this API name to, instead of stage name, let's say I want to write it as stage only. Okay, I want to give it as stage, so I can click on apply. So it basically changes the API name, nothing else. Okay, this particular thing, the API name will get changed from stage name to stage. That is the thing about this edit attribute. Okay, fine. Let's move ahead. Okay, then you have this drop column. So of course that's the keep and drop column. Just like we had the keep and drop column, you can actually, if you want, you can drop anything. For example, let's say I want to drop uh, I mean, I can take this account ID, for example. Okay, if I want to drop the column, I can go for account ID and that column will get dropped. Similarly, you can keep the column as well. Okay, fine. Okay, detect all these things. We can leave it as of now. So these are some of the functionalities like we had. Okay, that is trim, split, uppercase, lowercase, replace. Okay, you can change from text to that. Okay, now let's move to measures. Okay, so under measures, what you have, under measures, you have something like this one. We will explain later. There's something called as fill. For example, let's say you want to replace the zero with certain other values. You can do that. Okay, so fill is nothing but, if I show you, it basically, if there is any none values under measure, it will get filled with certain values. Okay, so that's the beauty of fill. So let's say if I go for new column and keep original amount fill, I can click on apply. So if there is any amount which is by default zero, then it will replace that by zero. If it is null, I'm sorry, not zero, if it is null. Okay, now let's check a few other. Now similarly, you have bucketing. Bucketing will be a bit different over here. So you remember we used to have that range. Okay, so for example, I want to do it, let's say less than, for example, 10,000. Okay, less than 10,000. I'm clicking on it and let me write it as low amount. Okay, fine. Similarly for range 2, I can write it as more than equal to this one. And let's say I want to make it as 1 minute. If I want to add any further range, okay, so let's say it will be 50,000. Fine. I can name it as medium amount. Fine. Medium amount. Okay. And let's say the final one will be somewhere like, if it is more than equal to 5,000, it will be high amount. Okay. So this is the way you can do bucketing for numbers also, measures also. You remember we had to write case when statement for doing all this thing. This is simply, you can do this. Okay, in this manner. Fine. Okay, let's move ahead. So this was about Measures, fine. Edit attributes, I already explained, it's the same thing. We can skip this as of now. Drop columns, you already know. Okay. Numbers to, so if you want to convert this number to a certain text, you can also do that. Okay. You remember how we had faced difficulties by writing that case one statement, but here you can easily like go for text. Okay. And you can just write, you can go for origin new columns. Okay. Amount to text, that is completely fine. Or I can write something like amount string. Okay. I think that's a better name, amount string, and it automatically converts that numbers to string. Fine. That's the thing. Okay. Now, okay. Oh my God. Let me go to amount. Okay. So that's the whole thing about this measures. Okay. These are some of the functions which we have from. Okay. Now going for dates. Okay. There is something called as extract, which helps you to extract the year, month, and day if you want. For example, let's say I want to extract the year component. Okay. So close date extract. Let me write it as year. Okay. Or let me write it as close date year, for example. Okay. Fine. So it will extract the component of year for me. Okay. So now if you just go to the last section, see all the years are being popped up over here. Okay. That's the beauty of such kind of functionalities. Okay. Fine. So this is about the extract part. Similarly, you can extract for year, month, week, whatever you want to. Okay. Now then you have bucketing. So similarly, just like the bucketing which we did, you can do the bucketing for this based upon absolute or relative. You can do the bucketing. For example, if I want to do for absolute, okay. So whichever year I want to take, for example, if I take Jan 1, okay, and let's say I take date till October 31st, fine. And let me write it as 2024 date, okay. And let me click on add, fine. So 2024 date, and let me click on apply, okay. Close date bucket, what happened? Give me a moment. Okay, let me check what is the problem over here. Pocket, I have given this date as, okay, I think the date will remain as it is for 2024. You will get to see, yeah, whenever the date is 2024, right? For example, here you see 2024 date. I think if the date falls under that 1 January 2024 to 31st, it will show you as 2024 date, as you can see in the last few columns. Otherwise, it will show you a normal date because I didn't do the bucketing for the rest. Okay, that's fine. Fine. Close date bucket, or maybe I could have written non 2024 date. I think that would have been a better idea. Okay, so bucket remaining values, I can write it as other. Okay, let me click on apply. It will show as others. Okay, nothing else. Fine. So that's the thing about this date part. Okay, so similarly, 1 minute. Let me again go to close date. Fine. So similarly, you can edit attributes. That's fine. Bucketing I showed you. You can extract. Okay. So these are basically a few of the common functionalities which we have. I will explain you in details about the custom formula now, and you know how we kind of do extraction on dates. And I think there was one more thing related to format dates. Okay. If you want to format the dates, you have this option over here. But that is if the format is in this manner. Okay. If it is in text format, but that's not needed over here. Okay. Yeah, that's not needed over here. I can click on cancel. So these are some of the basic functionalities, and you know all these things we can actually see in the preview section of the recipe. We can run the recipe as well as check it on the dataset, but I think in the preview also you can see like how this is popping up. Fine. So I'm not showing you on the dataset side. I'm showing you on the preview section, which is fine because this is basically just for the understanding part. Okay. So yeah, that's it about this video. Please definitely do like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, let's meet very soon in our next one.